Luxury, diplomacy, control. The Al Thani family turned Qatar from a desert state into a global force, with world-class real estate, oil, and sports. Yes, even the World Cup. This family's wealth is staggering. But how deep does their influence really go? Let's watch this video on Inside the Richest Family of Qatar, the Al Thani family. But before we get into it, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more. A legacy forged in sand and spirit. Imagine a family whose beginnings are etched in desert winds and bound by nomadic resilience. Their journey started centuries ago with the Banu Tamim tribe, driven by survival, clan loyalties, and centuries of oral traditions. These men and women, traversing endless dunes, laid the cultural and moral foundation for what would become a dynasty. Imagine the young Mohammed bin Thani navigating shifting sands, dreaming of permanence and shelter. In the early 18th century, he planted roots in Qatar, forging alliances and gifting property that would later become precious real estate. The land's rocky bones held hidden promise, the discovery of oil and natural gas beneath. When pipes ran deep, the Al Thanis rose as modern stewards of wealth, turning ancestral resources into global influence. A young Emir in an ancient role. What is it like to balance age-old traditions with the urgencies of 21st century leadership? At age 33, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani accepted an incredible mantle, the future of his nation and family legacy. He carried on the gentle rule of his father but added his voice of youth, curiosity, and ambition. I think about his days in government buildings, unseen by the public, quietly shaping agendas, education, world diplomacy, environmental initiatives. As he walked palace grounds, carrying one hand the weight of heritage, the other reached for progress. He watches foreign markets, speaks through global summits, and nurtures ties across continents. On the surface, he is regal and calm, but beneath, he is a changemaker, carving a new path for his people and his family. Palaces of power, homes of emotion. What happens when walls whisper family stories and also international ambitions? In Doha, the family palace is more than opulence. It's a gathering place filled with laughter, large family meals, and heartfelt dialogues. Children dash through courtyards shaded by date palms. Elders exchange poetry and memories. Amidst crystal chandeliers and marble corridors, bonds are woven. Here, Sheikh Tamim's siblings and cousins meet in private reception rooms to discuss, debate, and plan. The marble is perfect, but the moments are raw, of laughter, disagreement, of grace under pressure. These palaces remind us that wealth does not insulate emotions. It amplifies them, and in private, it's where the family's true spirit lies. Global real estate, personal roots. Could owning a nation's skyline feel personal rather than possessive? The Al Thanis signal extends far beyond Qatar. London's skyline features their fingerprints, the Shard, historic Harrods, a majestic terrace by the river. Across the Atlantic in Manhattan, they own towers and urban apartments. Yet these buildings serve more than investment. They tell a story of a nation's ambition. Each tower can host dignitaries or serve as quiet retreats. Each penthouse becomes a vantage point from which they observe not only the world's markets, but also the pulse of global progress. And in each home, they carry traditions from Doha, prayers before sunrise, matchless gatherings at dusk, quiet reflection beneath imported chandeliers. Sovereign wealth, a national heartbeat. What does it mean to govern billions for a nation's future? Qatar's sovereign wealth fund, the Qatar Investment Authority, QIA, is more than a financial tool. It's a heartbeat of national identity. City skylines, world's largest banks, and premier sports clubs aren't merely investments. They are bridges linking Qatar to continents. They are stepping stones to ensure economic stability beyond oil and gas. Imagine boardrooms where Al Thani names sit alongside global CEOs, negotiating, learning, carving long-term vision for a desert nation again reaching outward. To them, wealth is not power, it is purpose. In every investment, they plant seeds for future education, infrastructure, and resilience. Play, pride, and the power of celebration. What unites a nation more than sports? And what elevates a city more than hosting the world? Qatar's hosting of the FIFA World Cup in 2022 wasn't only about football. It was about creating a moment of unity, pride, and dramatic hospitality. Think of stadiums shimmering under desert stars, volunteers from every walk of life, and millions of hearts beating in Doha's rhythm. QIA's acquisition of Paris Saint-Germain and stakes in other clubs show passion and investment in unity through sport. But this is also diplomacy in jerseys, a soft handshake with the world. played in stadiums, and broadcast globally. Imagine Qatar citizens cheering in unison, not because they're forced, but because they feel this moment is theirs. Art that bridges worlds, hearts, and generations. When you invest in art, what are you really investing in legacy? Sheikh Al-Mayasa, often described as the world's most influential art curator, travels quietly by night to museums, bidding on pieces that will tell stories far beyond Qatar. Early modern Arab art, endangered heritage, fragile manuscripts, they come home to Doha, displayed in world-class museum spaces. Her work is not just acquisition, it's healing a culture, bringing pride and educating generations. Meanwhile, Sheikh Saad's love of classic cars and vintage artifacts isn't hobby. It's respect for the beauty of human time capsules. These collections define not only what the family owns, but what they choose to preserve for humanity. Ties that bind generations. How does a family of 20,000 stay connected in trust, respect, and purpose? There are weekly gatherings in miniature Majlis rooms, where cousins exchange news and advice. Stakes events for each adult family member are more than financial. They maintain dignity and connection. Disputes are smoothed in cultural tradition. Decisions balance modern responsibility with preserving every elder's voice. Inside the palaces, there's laughter, of children mixing dialects, of elders reciting old poetry, and of distant cousins landing for a visit. They are a living nation in miniature, a family with mechanisms to ensure heritage continues, internal, unified, cohesive, even while wealth changes the world. Challenges, caste, and riches. Does absolute wealth guarantee harmony or magnify every challenge? Opulence brings blind sides. With so much investment and influence, criticism of oversight becomes louder. Human rights scrutiny, transparency questions, and debate around monarchy's role affects even palace halls. Family palace walls protect, but cannot erase tension. Decisions about who gets what, who travels, who leads, who remains in shadows, can weigh on heirship. A blockade in 2017 made clear how geopolitics can ripple through households. If the dynasty remains standing, not because of money alone, but because of shared history, shared identity, shared mission. Vision towards tomorrow. What does it mean to leave a legacy larger than gold? Looking at LNG negotiations, infrastructure projects, global investments, the Thani gaze always extends full. They intend to redefine Qatar not merely as an energy state, but as an education hub, a cultural beacon, and a financial safe harbor. Plans for the 2030 Asian Games and future world-class universities reflect this. Behind these plans are real people, summary across breakfast tables, tears during late-night debates, determination as children learn to ask, why? It will not come cheap, but legacy is not bought. It's crafted, brick by brick, heart by heart. An emotional tapestry woven in wealth, from desert nomads weaving tents out of necessity, to a modern family guiding a nation toward future horizons. They still share commonality. A desert ancestry teaches humility. A royal burden demands purpose. Men and women feel the pull of tradition and the weight of potential. They cry over losses, rejoice in children's laughter, and argue over vision. Their wealth animates many dreams, but inside, what flows richest is love, loyalty, and sacrifice. Why it matters. Wealth with purpose. This isn't selfish abundance. It's a foundation for national transformation. Soft power over swords. From art to football to education, it's diplomacy in motion. Legacy beyond money. A dynasty that chooses culture, learning, conservation, and hearts. The story of the Al Thani family isn't about numbers. It's about vision carried across generations. It's about transforming heritage into opportunity. It's about custodianship of nation and faith. So the next time you see glittering towers or hear of grand investments, remember, somewhere behind it all, people are striving, not for excess, but for meaning. If you found this journey meaningful, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories that shine light on power, purpose, and legacy.